Welcome. This is number 5 of the washcloths in my beginners bundle. So we have made this one, which uses wide double crochet, and that's worked in the row. We've got this one which uses half double crochet and is worked in the round. Then we've played with this one, which is worked in the row as well. It's got some chain spaces working with half double crochet. And then the fourth one was worked in the round, and we did some color changes if we opted to. So this fifth one, I should say, again, we need any sort of cotton. We're using single crochet in this one, but we're going to be we're going to be crossing them over each other. So if you know single crochet, you'll still be okay. You'll need a 5mm, or I'm using Knit Picks Dishy, as I've used for all of mine, and a 5mm hook. And if you wanted to purchase the bundle, so this is a perfect opportunity to help you learn to read crochet patterns, because you have a written pattern and you've got the video to go with it. Plus the written pattern does have picture guide, so you've got all the bases covered. And yeah, as I said, this is part of the beginner's bundle. Now I'm going to make this a smaller size than the pattern says. So if you want to adjust it, which is what I'm doing, then you'll want to use any even number. So I'm just going to move my page down. Any even number of stitches. So the original pattern I did chain 40. I'll see how big I get for this one. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 20. Okay, so I might go to 24. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm trying not to make them too big. I'm breaking my own rules. So if we look at that, that's roughly about that size. So that's good. Alright, so I've chained 24. The original pattern was a chain 40. So entirely up to you what you go with. Now row 1 is very simple. We're going to work in the second chain from the hook. So I work into the bumps. You might want to work into the V. I just like to have I'm just used to working the bumps. It makes a neater edge because you've got that on the outside then, which is irrelevant when you're adding a border. But anyway, so I'm going to work in the second chain from the hook, and we're just doing single crochet all the way along. So if you're using UK terms, so these are all US terms. If you prefer UK terms, then that's a double crochet all the way along. Okay, because it's a shorter chain, I'll just stay there. So you can see that's what it should be looking like. This keeps it simple. So single crochet is one of our simplest stitches. We're going to play around with it and give it some texture. Alright, so just keep doing that until you get to the end, and then do a chain 1 and turn, and I'll show you what we're doing for row 2. Alright, so we finished row 1. We're now going to do row 2. So I've done my chain 1 and turn. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a single crochet first into that first hook stitch. Now this row that we're doing now is the exact same that we're going to repeat until we get to the size that we want. Okay, so we've done a single crochet into that first stitch. We're then going to skip the next one. So we're not going to work into that one just yet. We're going to work into the next one. And again, we're just doing a single crochet. Then we're going to go back to that stitch that we skipped, and we're going to work into that one. Okay? Then we're going to, so we've now done the next 2. So think of it in blocks of 2. So the next block of 2, we're going to work into the second one. So we're skipping that one, we're working into the second one. And then we're going to work into the stitch just skipped. Okay? So you can see we're getting some texture there. So the next block of 2, we're going to skip that one, we're going to work into this one. and we're going to come back. Now it can be a little bit difficult to see, but we're just going to, so you can see this line here, we're just going to insert our hook under that. Okay, then the next two, and we're just going to keep repeating that all the way across into the one just missed. So it just adds a little bit of variety. You're still doing your basic stitch. The only difference is you're going back to the spot that you skipped and you're working into that one. Yep. So here, just make sure you're getting into under that bar as well. And in under there. Just working into each one. Okay. So you should have just the 2 stitches left, and again, just to make sure you don't miss the end, it can look a bit, it can disappear a little bit. So then one into there, and then one into that last one. Okay, and then we're going to chain one, we're going to turn. So there you can see you've got little cross stitches. Okay, and I'll just show, so row 3 onwards is exactly the same. So you're still going to work a single crochet into that first stitch, and then you can see you've still got, it'll be look a little different, but you're still going, skipping one, going into the next one, and then going back and working into the one that you just skipped. Okay, so the next two, it just looks a little different, but you can look, you've got the V's on the top if that makes it easier. So just make sure you insert into the first one and then go back and insert into the second one. Okay, and that's all you're doing. So once you get it to where you want, so in the original I did a longer one, so I did it to row 31. Just get it till it's square and the size that you actually want. And don't worry that this looks a little small. It did shrink a little bit, or a lot, but we're going to add a border. So the border will add to the overall size at the end as well, so don't stress too much. But you can make it to any size that you prefer. Alrighty, so this has ended up smaller than I'd planned, but that's okay. So we're going to add just a simple border to this one. We're going to start by just working into the last row of stitches, and we're just going to begin by doing 1 single crochet, which is 1 UK double crochet into each stitch across that side. And pretty much all the sides are the same. So this is our most basic border that I'm adding here. I've written it a little differently in the pattern to what I would normally write as well. So we're just going to work 1 into each side, and when we get to the end, we're just going to add 2 stitches into the corner stitch, which is where that bit's a little bit different. So if you want to modify it to something you're more familiar with, more comfortable with, then by all means do that. Okay. I want to show the first and the second side at the very least. I should put that into a bowl, but anyway. Okay, so that's the last one. So in the corner, so I'm going to add essentially 2 stitches in that last stitch, and my yarn's getting itself tangled, which is not ideal. Okay, and then we're going to aim to work, so all I've done is 2 in that stitch. Then down this side we're just going to aim to work 1. We're working around the last stitch of each row. It's where we're aiming for, or the chain that's there. We're just aiming for roughly 1, though it looks like more comfortably it's kind of 1 for every 2. So just work around the stitches, the spaces that come to you, and just keep them evenly spaced. And it doesn't matter how the count for this one, because the next round it's just plain as well, so there's no stress on that one. So you can see we're just aiming roughly for 1 for each row. That's kind of every second row, every 1.5. There really is no way to get this wrong unless you're adding too many or you're skipping too many. So I guess you can get it wrong, which you'll know. So if you're skipping too many, you're going to end up with it looking, it'll start to curl up. This is, you can see, still sitting quite flat, so that's why I'm okay with what I'm doing. If it was starting to ruffle, then you've got too many stitches, so you can just course correct there as well. Okay, so now, because we come to the end of that side, we're now going to put 2 stitches into that corner stitch. Actually, I'm going to put 1 first, and then that corner stitch I'm going to put 2. Okay, and then you just need to repeat that for the next 2 sides. I'm not going to stay and show you those. So 2 into that stitch. So essentially this one, you're doing 1 down each stitch, 2 at the corner, and then 1 will just evenly try to match it, but evenly down there, and then 2 at the end, because we only did 1 at that very bottom edge. Okay, and then slip stitch, and I'll come back and show you the next round. Alright, so this is the final round. You can, if you wanted to, you could add another round of single crochet, but this one we're going straight into. So the very first one we're just going to do is a chain 2. So that's going to count as a single crochet and a chain 1. Now we're not going to skip any stitches, but in each one we're going to do 1 single crochet, chain 1. Okay, and we're not skipping, so this is going to end up with a ruffled look to the edge, so it'll tie in with the rest of the texture that we've got going on. So if you're using UK terms, that's a double crochet, chain 1. Okay, and it's just 1 into each stitch. So I'll just stop to show you so you can see it's just got a bit of a ruffled look to it. Simple, but gives it a nice little edge. Okay, so 1 into each stitch, no skipping. And then at the corner, once I get there, so we've got the first stitch of the corner, you're going to do 1 single crochet, chain 1, 1 single crochet. So that just gives us a little bit more space to go around that corner. And if it's the second stitch, it really doesn't matter either. Just, okay. So I'm going to do this one. So that's, you can see I've got 2 stitches there. So that first one, I'm going to do 1 single crochet, chain 1, and then 1 single crochet, the same one, and then chain 1. And then we continue what we were doing. So the next stitch, just single crochet, chain 1, single crochet, chain 1. All right, so you're just going to continue that. So that's what it looks like. A little bit ruffled on that edge. It'll look a little bit less ruffled on this edge because I've spaced them out a little bit further. But that's all part of it. And then when you get back to the start, so back to that first one, you can slip stitch to the first chain so that you've still got the ruffly part. Okay, so I'll come back and finish off. Okay, so that's this one finished. It's much smaller than my other ones, but hey, it's a prototype, so you can make it, adjust it to the pattern size, adjust it to whatever size you want. All my patterns for this beginner's bundle are designed that way. You can mix and match the borders if you wanted to, turn them into something else. You can you know, make bigger squares, turn them into tops. There's all sorts of things you can do with the washcloths, so don't dismiss them just as washcloths. Turn them into blankets, turn them into cushion covers. Now, this one is the last one in my beginners bundle, so the next ones get a little trickier. I still have one coming out each week, so the next bundle that I'll be sharing is a popcorn and puff one, so they'll all have popcorn and or puff stitches in them. I think they're all single ones, but yeah, so stay tuned for that. So if you do like to practice different stitches, you like to get a little bit more creative, have a bit more say in what you're making, learn to read patterns, purchase the bundle. You can use the videos to help you learn to read the patterns. And yeah, subscribe if you like a new washcloth, a new lesson every week. There we go.